In a world where most people watch movies and then forget about them, 3 brave heroes join forces to watch them again and then talk about them. Join them in their epic journey as they go back in time, a decade and beyond, to revisit and break down films from a vast array of genres. Do these movies hold up over time? Are they classics? Find out on Retro Movie Roundtable. Starring your hosts, Bryan, Frye, Chad Robinson, and Russell Guest. Coming now to headphones in your ears. Hello, all you lords, ladies, and knights of the Retro Movie Roundtable. Welcome to the show where we watch movies and then talk about them. I am your host, Russell Guest. And if you heard something interesting in the theme song, you've done this once before, but we've got a shakeup. Our good friend John has had life happen. Having a baby, getting a job, moving, and all this stuff has taken him away from the show. We definitely thank him as one of the show creators, and we will always welcome him back. But in the meantime, we are still going to have 3 Musketeers and 3 Amigos, and I don't know, Brian, give me another 3 things.
Holy Trinity, if we're getting really cocky.
Yeah, so anyway, there's 3 of us, and those are 3 things that have 3 things in them. Joining me today is Bryan Frye.
Evening, everybody.
And joining for the first time as a host, you know him well, Chad Robinson. Chad, how's it feel to be a host?
Feels just wonderful, Russell.
All right. Well, you host your own podcast now. That's pretty exciting news for you. So we got to get to know you just a little bit more than we've ever gotten to know you before. Just to wind it back, when did you meet Bryan and when did you meet me?
It was probably 7th grade. 2 very different experiences. I wound up in Bryan's hotel room for a trip to Washington, D.C., where we mostly watch Bond movies. Russell, you figured out I liked Weird Al, so we went to a concert. I knew you as far as, hey, this kid likes Weird Al, but Russell's like, this is my friend now. So we've known each other for a very, very long time.
On that, though, I was like asking my friend already in my mind that we should go to a concert, and Chad's like, okay, now that we went to this concert, we can be friends. So I'm really glad I didn't ask a different one of my already established friends to go to this concert.
This cemented it. I mean,
yeah, Russell's barrier for friendship is much lower than mine. What qualifies me is availability and reliability. So I am available and I'll show up.
That's solid.
I'll be honest with you, if anybody took me on a trip and watched Bond movies with me, there's a decent chance I'd probably end up being friends with him on that trip too, though. So.
Hey man, that's not the only thing we did that trip. We also bought fake Tommy Hilfiger watches and or Oakley sunglasses from panhandlers on the street. That was classic.
Oh yeah, I had those for years.
Yeah. I think that was maybe my first trip to the Smithsonian. Definitely the first trip that I can remember.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if my grades weren't good enough or if I just wasn't in the smart enough kids class, but I literally don't know what trip this is.
I feel like the entire class went.
Yeah, that was Mr. Norman's class?
No,
because the big thing was going to the Holocaust Museum.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
That's a weird thing for a class to be amped up to go to, but that's what our teacher was excited to bring us to.
I just might have had the wrong history class. Don't know. That or it's quite possible I had too many detentions along the way. I don't know.
You were a usual suspect, Ross. Like it wasn't until we hit Cutlip's class that I really felt the brunt of how many detentions we've wound up in.
I don't feel like I was that bad of a kid to get into detention as many times as I did, but I don't know. Too much talking about movies.
It was not difficult to get into detention with her.
Yeah. Anyway, Chad, when did you discover you had a thing for movies? Say maybe a little more so than your average run-of-the-mill person.
Honestly, I'm surrounded by friends that love the movie industry far more than I do. So I've always been very intimidated by the people that I'm friends with that just love movies. But I think there are 2 different instances where I've realized, oh, I like movies a little bit more in certain genres than normal people do. And it's usually the reactions I get when I talk about how many horror movies I've seen. It's people are just sort of appalled, like, why? Why have you seen that many? And and Russell and Mary's, particularly Mary's response to how many romantic comedy movies I've seen. There was more shock and awe over that one than there was the amount of horror movies that I've seen. It's just like, really? This one too? But that's what my wife likes, and so that's what I see.
Oh, I was just gonna say it shouldn't be that weird. I mean, if you're, on dates and stuff, then that really should be like a solid genre for any guy who ends up dating.
Yeah, my favorite mixing of those was I made a deal to go see a horror movie, but I had to accommodate my wife and go to a chick flick first. So we went to live action Cinderella, which, it was fine, whatever. But then we went to go see my horror movie, which It Follows. We went to see It Follows.
Oh, I love that movie.
I do too.
It's a great movie.
And it gave my wife nightmares. She woke me up in the middle of the night telling me a man was standing in her doorway. So we didn't see a horror movie again for a really long time.
Good movie to go out on, though, if you're going to...
Yeah, I had a similar thing. Jess and I used to go see horror movies all the time. Our first date was to 13 Ghosts.
Oh, I love that.
But I went one step too far, and I took her to see The Ring, and she has not been to a horror movie with me since.
What about at home? Can you get her to watch a horror movie with you in the house?
Yeah, we watched Halloween together. It's usually older ones that have completely lost their creep appeal. And please understand that when I say this, I don't mean that they're not still scary movies, but I do mean that if you watch the original Dawn of the Dead, that a slowly walking guy painted green is much less terrifying than, say, 28 Days Later, when it's a ravenous horde of, crazily done up, ultra fast, ultra strong things that cannot be stopped.
Maybe when we get to Halloween, we can do a bonus episode on this one. But personally, I think the 70s is the golden age and the Scream King decade for me. So I'm going to challenge you on that one later.
Oh, 80s.
Oh, it sounds like we have a debate forming. I like it. But, so Chad, when somebody asks you why you love movies, like, what is it you love most about it? Is it the fact that you kind of share the experience with other people? Is it that you get into the stories? Or is it just being transported to another place? Like, what is it that's magical about movies for you?
I think I just like the way I feel after watching a good movie. Depends on the genre. I don't tend to go into the depressing movies very much. I like to feel happy at the end of the movies, and my happy is different than others. Like, I'm fine if the villain wins. In a horror movie, sometimes I like that. And my wife is just horrified at that. She's like, no, the bad guy won. I was like, yeah, but it was really cool. But I like the feeling of a good movie and just the elation of, oh, that was really fun, and I'm going to remember that, and it's going to stay with me.
Awesome. What makes you think that you're crazy enough to join Bryan and I here on this podcast here, the Retro Movie Roundtable?
I've stuck with you guys for 22 years now.
That's fair.
I feel like there's a grandfather clause here.
That's awesome.
Yes, the worst thing about bringing you in as host is we've now lost our reliable guest who you can call up with 4 hours of notice being like, yeah, I watched The Mist. Sure, I'll come on and substitute for your friend who flaked out on you.
Follow the show, people.
Still to this day, The Mist is still our lowest downloaded episode. Just so you know, one of our mutual friends helped us select The Mist and kindly did not show up for the episode. And Chad's like, I just happened to watch it knowing that you guys were going to watch it. I could do it. And I was like, yes.
See what happens when you follow the show, people? You could wind up hosting one day.
Oh man.
That'll be our back one time. It's like we need a guest host, and people will be like, whoop 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 whoop. We're just picking.
So Brian, do you have a couple of fun questions for us, which we would normally do in the icebreakers, but let's get fun with it. Let's loosen up here a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll this down the hill. All right. Worst movie you had to watch on a plane, and was it your only choice?
Go ahead, Chad.
I have to confess, I have never watched a movie on a plane. The closest I could give you is my daughter recently watching Paw Patrol or something like that. Paw Patrol Saves the Bunnies. She has mercifully started wearing headphones, but yeah.
Is that a movie?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Well, that counts then.
Paw Patrol Saves the Bunnies, yes. Okay.
Paw Patrol.
To answer your question, Brian, my worst trip on my worst plane movie, which I don't think it's even that rated that badly, but it should be, is The Straight Story. It's about an old man whose eyesight is going bad, and so he rides across the country on like a tractor at the shoulder of the road, and he stops and then basically shares his old man wisdom with people along the way. It's boring, and I don't like it. So,
I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah, I haven't either. I feel like you got tricked.
Well, I was on a plane, so it goes with the whole captive audience thing. So, I mean, I don't know what to say.
This seems like a Family Guy parody, like something they would show.
Right.
Old man in Nebraska driving a tractor on Lifetime.
It seems like it could be on Lifetime. Go on, Brian.
So mine's kind of weird on this because it's not that I didn't like the movie, because I actually did enjoy the movie, but it was the timing in which it was played, and it was the only movie you could watch. And it was actually with John Flack. We were on our way down to, I think, Turks and Caicos to go to the beach, and they played Deep Blue Sea. And I remember the two of us watching it, and then just looking at each other. So who's first in the water when we get down there? Actually, we may have been I think we were going to Key West. So it was like, we were both just like, okay.
So you didn't have super intelligent sharks jumping out of the water to get you then?
Yeah, it was concerning. Neither of us are big fans of sharks, and we were just kind of like, but we got to watch the movie. I mean, we were young. We were super. So we're just like, I gotta watch the movie, but I also don't want to get eaten or be thinking about getting eaten.
I bought a movie theater ticket to that one. Not one of my better movie ticket purchases, I would have to say. But on that similar note, my dad has a similar story that he frequently mentions. He was at Daytona Beach when Jaws came out, and he saw it, as so many people did early on, and the next day at the beach, not hardly anybody was in the water.
I believe it.
I believe it. No, I had the same thing. I had a hard time watching Jaws as a kid. I remember being like 6, 7 years old at my aunt's house and being like, nah, not that. Now it's one of my go-to like watch anytime movies.
The first time I saw that was actually at the beach. It was in our condo rental. So we watched that and then went down to the beach for some fun.
Man,
perfect timing.
We got to do that on this show at some point. It's funny.
Jaws?
Yeah, definitely. That'd be great to do on the show.
Oh, we should do Michael Caine's Jaws 3. It's terrible.
Oh yeah, that's the fourth one, isn't it? That's the Revenge of Jaws.
Yeah.
Jaws Revenge.
I think Jaws 3D is the worst one personally. I think the one before that one is where it bottoms out.
I'd have to go back. I actually really love Jaws 2. The one in the aquarium or the SeaWorld.
That's that's Jaws 3D. That's the one that I don't
3D.
like.
Yeah, the second one's still
really?
at the beach.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay. Yeah, I actually kind of like that one. I don't think I ever saw it in 3D. Was it supposed to be in 3D?
Yes.
Yep.
Like you could see like an arm floating in the water at you and stuff like that. It was like, whoa.
I don't know. I've always enjoyed that one.
In 2D, he's enjoyed the 3D movie.
It's probably has need to get my glasses checked. All right, so next up is favorite movie to put on when you don't want to think anymore.
For me, the movie that I can have on in the background without thinking, but still really catch it and even pick out where they are in the movie. Anything from the original Star Wars trilogy. I've had that on in the background so much. It's on, I think, TBS all the time. They've been running Star Wars marathons in May a ton, and it's one of those. If it's on the channel, yep, I'm committing to however long this is going to run through. That's my afternoon.
So, Chad, do you mean by original, like episodes 1 through 3, say like Attack of the Clones?
You know what I mean. We don't speak of those.
They hurt Chad. They hurt Chad deep.
They really did. Just.
I'll say this for the episodes 1 through 3. I'll tell you the one thing I will say for episodes 1 through 3. If I could go back and just pluck Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi out of that and either put him in a new 1 through 3 or a solo Kenobi movie like they've been kind of teasing us with, I would absolutely love that. He was one part of those 3 movies that I thought was a gem, and I would love to continue seeing more Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Interesting. And would you like to see the Padme trilogy, like her whole backstory?
No, I would
not even a little bit.
Yes.
I could go the rest of my life without ever seeing Gungan.
No, you know what? I do want the movie where Jar Jar Binks is actually a Sith, and he ruined everything on purpose. And
I will admit that was a fun fan theory.
Like Darth Jar Jar, fine. Like if he throws off the ridiculous accent and everything else, it's like, yep, it was me the whole time. Fine, that could have redeemed
You
it.
said join the dark side?
Oh.
So as for me, I took the don't think about it in a very different direction. I love Star Wars. It's comfort food for me too, much like Chad, and I can watch it any time. But to me, when you say turn off your brain and enjoy it, a movie I enjoy coming back to is Dude, Where's My Car? With Sean William Scott and Ashton Kutcher.
Dude.
Sweet!
Dude.
I mean, I is it just me, or I have never heard anyone actually defend this movie or say, hey, this is something I want to see twice?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mary and I have enjoyed this one.
I'll just be on my island here, but they found the car, and that was enough for me.
Stop spoiling movies, Chad.
What I do.
Speaking of movies where they can't find their car and then they find it to hilarity, that's one of my favorite aspects of the movie, The Other Guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We will have sex in your car.
Is your name, what was it, Dirty Jimmy or something? Yeah. For me, I can go a couple different directions with this because I have several of these type of movies. On one hand, there's like the 90s action films that I've really liked, like Murder at 1600 or The Fugitive. Tombstone is another big one as far as Westerns go. I could watch Tombstone, just put it on and really thoroughly enjoy it end to end.
Interesting. I don't think... The Fugitive I know well, and I love that one.
Yeah.
I still need to see Tombstone someday, though, so I'm not versed with that yet.
No, that's a good one. Yeah. Pretty good indicators of when you need to pay attention to that one.
Right. Hunt for Red October is another solid.
I feel like that one demands a little more focus, though.
Well, not when you've seen it the number of times I've seen it. I could see if you're watching it the first time, you've got to follow along. But I've probably seen that movie in the several hundreds, like maybe not 500 times, but close.
Wow.
I love it. It's one of those ones that if it's on TV, I'll stop and watch it, even though I have it on digital and DVD and probably VHS somewhere.
Do you enjoy watching The Hunt for Red October in October?
I rarely watch it in October, but I have no factual information to back that up. All right, so next up, I wanted to know who is your favorite actor or an actress who is generally, or at least at one point in their careers, mainly associated with rom-coms?
So for actress, I think I've got to go with Julia Roberts. She's been in some bad romantic comedies, but I love when she's in the Ocean's movies. She's a lot of fun. Uh, Erin Brockovich, she was a good actress in. Uh, I even like Pretty Woman. I've had to see that movie, oh geez, a couple dozen times probably with Sarah. That's another darn TBS movie. Whenever it's on, it
Or,
stays on.
and hear me out here, maybe she had to watch it a couple dozen times for you.
Yeah, no, that's I think Richard Gere gets her gears going. So uh, Julia Roberts for the actress. For the actor, Heath Ledger. I like 10 Things I Hate About You. Loved him in Knight's Tale. Really enjoyed him as the Joker in Dark Knight.
Ah, the great
So-
rom-com, The Dark Knight.
Yes, it really is a love story between Joker and Batman, though. I mean, they need each other.
Stretching it on that one.
He's in a couple movies that I would consider romantic comedies, but I'd say I get crap more often than not for being a fan is Josh Hartnett for me. I am a huge fan of 80% of his collected work.
Yeah, but then he goes and does Pearl Harbor, and you're just mad at him.
Yeah.
I feel like, honestly, when you say Josh Hartnett, the first thing that comes to my mind is Hollywood Homicide.
I think of Sin City.
Actually, Russ, the one you give me the most crap about liking is 40 Days and 40 Nights.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that movie. I'm not with you on the Hartnett thing, by the way. I feel like he's wildly subpar. Like, I feel like he's a solid 1.5-star actor. But
Like 30 Days of Night, Black Dahlia, Lucky Number 11, Bonkaroo, Penny Dreadful was awesome.
Oh, I did not.
He
I was
actually
so
even-
disappointed by that series.
Oh, really? I liked it. He even showed up for a couple Drunk Histories, which was hilarious. If you've never watched Drunk History, this is the plug for Drunk History. He plays Clark Gable.
Chad has a master's in history, right? So, I mean, for my version of Drunk History, we just need to get Chad drunk.
Oh, and we
That's
can't forget Black Hawk Down. Oh, those were both solid. Oh, and The Faculty. Oh, the first movie I ever saw him in, The Faculty, the
Yeah.
horror movie.
Yeah, that's
That
worth
was an
defending.
Oscar.
That's a good one.
I liked Lucky Number 11 out of those.
That was a really good movie. Russ, how about you, man?
I'm not very versed in this one. Actually, Mary is not into the rom-coms whatsoever, and so I've not gone to many of them in my life. And I've pulled a couple off, just being like, a lot of people are into this movie here. Maybe we should just figure out what's going on with it. So oddly enough, I'm sometimes the one who suggests maybe we should watch this chick flick that just culturally people seem to know what this Love Actually thing is, and maybe we should watch that. Or maybe we should see, I don't know. I remember one caught my eyes. Like, I think it was What Women Want with Mel Gibson. I was like, you know what? I want to know what it's like if you can actually hear women's thoughts. Where does this go? So I've actually had to go. I'm oddly enough the one that goes to the bat for them. So that is a very unusual situation in its own right. So my bad answer to this one that I'm not sure that I can come up with as well as you. I know Drew Barrymore has a lot of, she's that sweetheart in a lot of rom-coms, and I'm more familiar with her other work, but I love Drew Barrymore, and I know that she has a lot of rom-coms. And then the other one that I might count on this one, I don't know, you can tell me if this constitutes or not, but I love Cameron Diaz. Things like Something About Mary is a rom-com, and so is like What Happens in Vegas. They might not be the sappy rom-coms that we might be thinking of when we talk about this, but I'm a big Cameron Diaz fan.
Yeah, that counts. I mean, she's
Fair
got
enough.
stuff like Night and Day as well. That was a terrible movie.
Oh, gosh, I had forgotten about that movie.
Yeah, I wish I could.
And in fairness, I don't think it's her fault or Tom Cruise's fault. I just don't think it's well made.
It's
Oh,
everybody's fault. They signed on for it.
I heard the actors were paid.
Oh,
As far as actresses go, though, I'm going to go something rather new on this. I am such a huge fan of Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
The Pitch Perfect movies were great. I actually read her book. It's called Scrappy Little Nobody. So anyway, yeah, big fan there. I'm really looking forward to the rest of her career.
I think she needs to play more songs with cups.
Did you hear her, like, I don't know if it was like a Twitter apology or what about Cups? She was like, to all the parents who have to listen to Cups on repeat, I sincerely apologize.
Guilty pleasure, but you know what? I like it. It's on my iPod, or well, my phone. I still say iPod.
It's all good.
she was great in a really weird horror movie called The Voices with Ryan Reynolds, where he heard his pets talk to him. Very strange
man, I haven't
movie.
seen that.
Yeah, it's.
I liked Up in the Air.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Kind of getting to that point, my last question for you, Chad, is name 3 guilty pleasure movies.
The first one, and I've got to pick this fight with you, Frye. I've already posted about it long ago when you besmirched Troy's good name on the podcast.
I'm not sure how good the name is, but I mean, it was besmirched. Don't get him wrong. I mean, there was much besmirching.
This is a baffling one to me because this is my favorite time period in history. I love ancient Greek and ancient Roman history. This is not historically accurate in any way, shape, or form. I don't know why this movie resonates with me, but I just enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, ancient people fighting, and I enjoy that. And Orlando Bloom's a punk in the movie, and he was the perfect punk for that movie.
You know what? Bryan doesn't like Ben Stiller, and he's professed it on countless episodes, and you know that by now. But Chad has an unusual, strong dislike of Orlando Bloom.
He's the worst part of the Pirates movies. He was in the Hobbit movies, which just makes me mad to forget with.
I can understand that. I wasn't a huge fan of that either. However, I did enjoy blanking on her name, but Girl from Lost.
Evangeline Lilly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
No Toriel, no elves. Just stop it. I mean, there's that one scene that you should have with the elves, but that's it.
I like Orlando Bloom, and I like...
It's a big 50-50 coin flip with me on Orlando Bloom. I don't dislike his performance as Legolas in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not a fan of Troy. I really did like Elizabethtown.
Oh, no.
I wasn't a fan of his part in Pirates. But then back to the time period thing that Chad was talking about, I really do like Kingdom of Heaven, which I've mentioned a couple times too. So yeah, I go back and forth. He's very hit and miss, kind of like M. Night Shyamalan's entire career.
Oh. He was the guy that you just, with Black Hawk Down, it's like, it's your fault. It's your fault. You're the perfect person to pin this on.
So you're saying The Happening was a big hit, and what was a miss now?
Yeah, that's exactly how I'd put that. No, I would say Sixth Sense was a big hit. Unbreakable, not so much. Signs was a big hit. The Happening, not so much.
What's happening to the trees, guys? I don't know what's happening to the trees.
He wrote Devil, and I enjoyed Devil, but he did not direct Devil. Girl in the Water.
Lady in the Water.
Oh,
yeah.
boo! I like that one.
Nope.
3/4 of Signs was fine.
That's true. The ending of that one was a little rough, but that's the same thing that happened with The Village.
Yeah.
Like 3/4 of The Village.
No, I love The Village.
I love 3/4 of The Village.
I love that. Like,
You know what?
3/4
Now that we're going through the hits, I feel like I might be 3/4 okay with Shyamalan.
Go watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you won't be.
I haven't seen that. It's true. I haven't seen that.
I'm actually a little upset. I have to admit that I've seen that.
Yep.
movie too. That movie had potential. That could have been. I'm not even a big anime fan, and that could have been cool.
That's a bad movie I won't defend. But
Anyway, please continue.
Speaking of ones that I will defend, horror movie genre, I'm going to go with Zombievers. It's exactly what it sounds like. They are zombie beavers. It is a B-level movie through and through. It knows it. The zombie beavers are ridiculous. They attack a bunch of attractive late teen, early college people. It's just exactly what that movie should be, and I'm not going to apologize.
Okay.
Yeah, I will cop to have also seen that movie. I laughed many times, and I will put it right up there with Thanksgiving.
Yes, that is a very good one. And if I've got to pick this is meant for not my audience, Pitch Perfect. Bryan already brought it up. I enjoy the Pitch Perfect movies. Saw the first one begrudgingly, and then went to Redbox and saw the other two.
Interesting.
They're
Just
charming.
really had to like drag me into that movie. I think I gave her a really hard time about it, and then after the movie, I was kind of abashed because I really, really enjoyed it.
I love the announcers. I wanted an entire movie just them.
I agree.
Well, I did like the announcers, and Fat Amy has a few parts in it. I haven't ventured past the first movie. I don't know that I need 3 of these.
Oh, I love the quiet Asian girl. Like,
Yes.
I hate my sister in the womb. Like that whole thing. It's like, oh, the demons are gone. I can talk now.
John Lithgow's in the third one.
Yeah. All right, Russ, what's up, man?
One of the ones that comes with guilty pleasures for me, this is definitely geared more for female audiences, but I think it's a really good movie. Tina Fey wrote it, and I'm going to go with Mean Girls on this. I'm a huge Tina Fey fan, and honestly, I liked Lindsay Lohan. The early part of her career was promising. It came to a crashing collapse, but I mean, Mean Girls, really good movie.
Yeah, I'll die on that hill with you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, maybe not the most guy-friendly movie, but I like it.
There are a couple lines that I quote just so people know that I've seen it.
For instance?
I will at least once a year say something is very fetch, just to see who looks up.
Okay. Okay.
That's my go-to. I'll just be like, oh, that's fetch.
Sometimes my boobs know that it's going to rain. How do you know? Well, when it rains, they get wet.
Oh, so good.
It is good.
All right.
So,
I completely forgot about that.
Chad continues to hammer me on this one, but maybe it's just my general enjoyment of Owen Wilson, but I enjoy You, Me, and Dupree. It's just a fun time. Rotten Tomatoes tells me I shouldn't like it, but I do.
Rotten Tomatoes is right. Shame on you.
I have no opinion. I'm not 100% sure I've seen that movie.
He lives on their couch, and he keeps coming back, and it's just...
Well, yeah, he's the ultimate mooch, but...
Is it an awkward comedy?
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay, then I'll pass.
It's got one of the greatest interview scenes ever, where he goes into an interview and starts complaining about, like, he's like, this isn't one of those places, is it? Like, where, like, they're all uptight. What do you mean? Like, oh, be here by a certain time, and you got to stay long enough. He goes, well, yeah. And he goes, wow, really? Man, I'm a little concerned. So what's your policy on Victory over Japan Day? Like, we work, wow. I'm afraid to ask about Columbus Day. We work then too. And then like he just like pulls the inner, like he like pulls the resume out of the guy's hands. He goes, I'm going to need this back. So for my third movie, I'm going to go with, again, Ben Stiller. Brian's not going to like this one. Ben Stiller, Jack Black, and Christopher Walken in Envy. It's an offbeat comedy. It gets a lot darker than I think most people want it to go. Rotten Tomatoes tells me I shouldn't like this one, but I do.
Okay. You actually have 2 on there that I'm not sure I've seen. Now, I will say that I probably haven't seen Envy on purpose based on my Ben Stiller feelings.
Yeah,
but I do like Owen Wilson, so the other one is still plausible.
That description just sounds not up my alley. Dark comedies, not my thing.
It doesn't look like it'll be dark by the previews, so I think it disappointed a lot of people because of that. I think people went in wanting maybe, Meet the Parents, ha ha ha, Ben Stiller, and it's not that. It goes darker.
Well, I've got three here that some of them I think are generally good movies, but like kind of like Russell said, some of them aren't exactly the highest rated movies. And one of them is one that I just feel like it's one of those movies I shouldn't like, but for some reason I really do. So I'll start with that one, and that's 1999's Girl Interrupted. I don't have a great reason for liking this movie, but anytime it's on, I end up watching it.
I've wanted to see that one. I just never have. It's a young Angelina Jolie, right?
Young Angelina Jolie and Winona Ryder. It is. It's not that poorly rated on IMDb with a 7.4, but it's got a 51 from Metacritic and a dropping popularity rating. So, anyway, my number 2 guilty pleasure is Bruce Willis in The Last Boy Scout.
I don't know that one. What is it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
So it is I think it's early 90s, Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. Damon Wayans is a ex-football player turned basically Halle Berry before she's famous's boyfriend. And Bruce Willis is a detective who's also an alcoholic who reluctantly takes this case that puts the two of them together. And it's one of the first kind of comedy action tandems that you'll find. IMDb gives it a 7. Metascore gives it a 52. So it's just it's one of those movies that kind of got me into the action comedy.
I'd watch
piece.
that.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if it would technically be a guilty pleasure, but it's one you never hear thrown around, and I really enjoy it. And lastly, I'm gonna go with Johnny Depp's Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said,
defend yourself.
You were doing better when I hadn't seen the movies. No, I'm kidding.
That's what you have to look forward to. I don't know. I liked the cinematography of this movie. I liked how dark it was. I liked Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman. It's a Edward Scissorhandsy art piece on the story. So I don't really defend necessarily the rewatchability or anything to anyone, although I do like to rewatch it. But I like movies like this. I like the use of color, the use of the lighting, the setup to really instill mood. It's a weird movie. It's Tim Burton-y, and I like it. I will also say that Sleepy Hollow has the best scores out of any of the three that I mentioned.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you that I'll throw you guys a little bone here in terms of a movie that I'm looking forward to making this list. I have not watched it yet. It is sitting downstairs on my coffee table right now to watch, and I am super excited about it. It is Sam Elliott in The Man Who Killed Hitler, Then Bigfoot.
That sounds promising.
I know, right? Gosh, it was in theaters too for like 5 minutes. I'm super excited about it. It was. I don't know I don't know anything about it. All I know is I saw the preview for it when it was coming out. I said I must go watch this movie. Like completely compelled to see it. Forgot about it, and then it popped up on my screen again, and I was like, "Ooh, buy." So I'm not asking any questions. Love Sam Elliott. The title alone would probably get me to watch it, but his name got me to buy it. So yeah, that I'm looking forward to that. Maybe making this list in the future.
Sounds great. So, Chad, any resolutions or commitments to the Retro Movie Roundtable as you begin your tenure?
I'm resolute on giving crap about Ben Stiller to Russell forever. Like he will hear me complain about Ben Stiller for the rest of his life.
You're gonna chase away the viewers. With Jerry Stiller's gonna be like, "It's terrible. 1 star."
That's one of my Russ. It's one of my favorite quotes from. I'm a blank on his name now. Howard Stern, Private Parts. It's like the majority of viewers who like him listen to see what he'll say next. Most of the Howard Stern haters listen twice as much because they want to hear what he says next.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a simple man, so as far as my resolutions, it's probably to make everyone that actually appreciates cinema for the great cinematography and all the stuff going on in the background, and like that's the only thing the movie has going for it. I'll cite Suspiria. That's this. I feel like this is a movie where artsy people will say they like it. They don't really, but because it's got a bunch of artsy stuff in the background, they'll be like, yeah, that movie was great. But if you just watch it, it is terrible. Suspiria is boring. If you like the type of movie that Suspiria is, you're probably not going to be a fan. We're probably going to be going back and forth on those. I like movies that entertain me, not. I think the edge of that is something like Mandy. Mandy was.
I've never heard of this Suspiria movie.
It's been on my to-see list for a long time. And there's a remake that looks really interesting, too, that I believe is on Amazon. And I want to see both of these movies. So
yeah, it's 1970s or so. It's a very, very strange movie where they'll cut to just random people dancing in seemingly the wind. It's got a great soundtrack, though, but other than that, it's really there for the visuals and for kind of the technical backgrounds of it. And that's not what I go to movies for. That's not really what I appreciate. So if that's your thing, I'm probably going to make you mad on a regular basis.
Don't worry, artsy people. I'll come to your rescue because I like these things.
Yeah. Well, Russell,
let me
go see Suspiria.
I will.
Since we're a little off the rails on talking about horror movies, I'll add one last question. Where do the two of you fall on the movie The Cell?
You know what? I don't really hate Jennifer Lopez and as a general concept, like in her music especially. But you know what? This is probably her high point for me. So yeah, I
feel like this is a movie like much the same as What Dreams May Come. I thought they were incredibly visually interesting movies. So I would say that I enjoyed watching both of those movies more than I enjoyed the movie. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm kind of getting at? Like there was just some visually cool stuff going on.
I feel like that's the entire Hellraiser series summed up in one statement.
Hellraiser is good. Yeah, I can see that.
No, Hellraiser is not a good movie. None of them are good movies. They're visually interesting. They're not good movies.
Boo this man!
No.
That's why we brought Chad on the show. We needed some hot takes and some controversy. He's our pot stirrer.
As you can see, gang, this is going to get spicy.
Yes. People said they liked that one episode where Brian's like, guys, The Graduate, I don't get it. It's going to be like that more often.
That fundamentally altered Dustin Hoffman for me forever.
Still a good movie, man. I don't know.
Yeah, you're wrong on that one, but it's okay to be out on the limb.
Yeah, look, man. There's just some things you're gonna have to punt on, and that's just gonna be a punt for me. I truly do hope that maybe in 20 years I'll go back and be like, oh, why did I have a problem with this? But right now,
Royal Tenenbaums. I know you guys did that. I know Frye, you compared it to Purgatory. That's a worse level for me. Like that's another.
So
artsy movie.
Yeah. But here's the thing: I didn't hate Royal Tenenbaums. It was just there.
Yeah, it's one of those movies
that exist.
It's like you have all these talented people, and you're just wasting my time. Please, just let's get on with this. Let's roll credits. Now that I've made everyone mad.
Well, you're going to have a lot more chance to hear more of Chad's hot takes and insights and controversy. He'll be here to stir up the pot with us on the show. Sometimes he's the contrarian, and that's sometimes exactly what we need.
Be nice to vending machines.
Yes.
Frye hasn't heard my big take yet, but...
Wanted to share with you a review on iTunes. I want to remind everybody how helpful these are. This is what grows the show. This is what really is the lifeblood of the show. So if you have an iTunes account, please take 30 seconds to search Retro Movie Roundtable, go down, give it a 5-star rating, and write like a review. It really helps the show. And so I want to call out Mimi JFG. She says, loved it. Fun listen for someone who isn't even a super big film buff. The personalities are fun and informative. Little Miss Green Eye says, great fun for a deep dive into movies. These guys picked movies we all know and love. Can't wait to hear more. To all you lords, ladies, and knights of the Retro Movie Roundtable, rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Like us on Facebook. Write to us at retromovieroundtable@yahoo.com if you want to be on the show. Who knows? If you're on the show enough times, maybe someday you'll become a host like Chad. Your dream might come true. Also, it helps if you've known us for 22 years.
That is a prerequisite. It's tough.
To everybody else out there, take care of yourselves and watch more movies. Bryan, Chad?
All for one and one for all.
There you go. Three Musketeers.